Even though I was focused on beating Mr. Miyamoto, I heard some of you laughing.
Right,
Don't try to deny it. I heard you.
Viewer request.
Our first ever. Welcome to the inaugural first annual viewer request. Some poor soul has
René D.
René D. Should be somewhere.
Renade.
Here's the
Somewhere in here.
somewhere in here.
They were a Zelda fan. They were doing a joke. I don't know what their name.
Renade D. There's also a Goron apparently.
Yeah. We have a Goron fan base, so that's nice.
Big Goron fan base. So that's good.
Very rocking.
René D asked somewhere in here. What kind of games would we like to see come out for the Wii U
in the future? Yeah.
In the future, so we thought this was a really good topic to discuss, actually, because obviously
suggestion.
The Wii U is pretty short
Yeah.
on games right now. I'm sure between the two of us, there are tons of dumb crap that we'd like to see. Mm-hmm. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to modify the topic a little bit. So the topic is, what games do we think need to be released? What needs to be in the Wii U's library for it to succeed?
Right.
Or at least
within at latest 2015.
It's not to be in the red anymore. Obviously, It's never going to do Wii numbers. It's not going to win the console generation. But what's something that they can? What's something that you feel like they need to release to stop the bleeding, basically?
Right. Something that enlivens the Wii U.
So what we'll do is we'll sort of alternate, kind of throw a game out, and we'll kind of discuss it for a couple minutes. So Sean,
'cause I think we've seen lots of platformers, lots of different things. You've seen in our videos and just all over. But something that needs to happen is just in general, a lot more variety needs to come out on the Wii U. It just seems like we're getting a bunch of the same stuff. We need things like shooters. We need more RPGs, in my opinion.
We do. I think Nintendo has always had kind of a lack of, particularly Western RPGs.
Mm-hmm. We need a good competitive racing game. Smash is coming out. We already know that needs to come out.
But
they said it's coming out this year. But in terms of things, like, we can say Smash needs to come out. Mario Kart, this is something that I think is interesting. I think Mario Kart needs to come out because I know it's very near and dear to a lot of the populace. I don't understand that myself. But what I think needs to happen, because it can't just keep doing what it has been doing, it needs to do something different. I would like to see a Super Smash card. Maybe that's just my fan thing coming in, but I
expand the roster.
Yes, they need to expand it.
I don't see how that could hurt it.
They need to add in more creative elements to it. Because the racing in Mario Kart is fine. And I mean, I'd love to see a new F-Zero, but I know Mario Kart sells much more and would be something that it needs. Mm-hmm. So enliven it more. Like, Super Smash is amazing. Why haven't you done a Super Smash card?
It'd be Mario and Friends card.
Yeah.
Just whatever.
So, I mean, that's probably the first one I'd suggest.
I think, this is kind of similar. Obviously, I'll do kind of a jumping off point for you. Because I think that is a real big problem for them, is versatility. And obviously, there's a couple things. They need to release a Zelda, not like Dynasty Warrior Zelda, but like a legitimate Zelda.
They need a name that's final.
They need that needs to be released as soon as you can make it. You need a Zelda on the system,
but don't rush it.
I don't know how much it would help. This is maybe going back to the original. I would really like to see a new Metroid.
Yes.
I love Metroid. I would really like to see them do another Metroid.
Do you want to do something different with it, or do you think they just need to release one that's more close to Prime?
This will be something I'll actually jump off here. I think what they need to do is, with their lineup, I think they need to, and this is something I think they should have done with the Wii U in general. Mm-hmm. The gamepad, it's fine. I do like it. I think right now, would have been a really great time for just a powerful no-gimmick system from Nintendo. And I think that's what they're going to want to do. They've come into the HD era. They have a relatively strong system.
That's the first time they've gotten actually with the Wii U Pro, a dedicated controller.
Like a real controller.
Yeah.
I would love to see some no gimmicks, takes on their big titles. I would love to see a big, expansive kind of Zelda. Because, you know, you go, oh, you can swing the sword. Like, that's not what people really want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, people don't want to be like, oh, now you can control it entirely via touchscreen. People want a big Zelda. That's what people, I think, really want, where it like looks amazing, and you can stand up and look over Hyrule, and it's all there. And people want that kind of big epicness, I think.
Because I think, like, with the Wii generation, there was a lot of story focus, like Metroid Other Rim, Skyward Sword. You know, a lot of those were like, because even with Skyward Sword, like, not just the whole thing, but they sacrificed a lot of the expansiveness of it for a more
right. And obviously the
narrative.
Wii was a pretty underpowered system, but we do have, you know, something that is obviously not as strong as the other two, but is still, you know, beyond what the 360 or the PS3 was capable of, at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
So you could really make a really gorgeous looking Zelda game with very expansive,
with lots of stuff.
Lots of stuff. I mean, I'm not saying you have to go Skyrim level, but that's something I think a lot of people want out of a Zelda. Something where it's like a huge world that you can explore, and, you know, this big epic story. And I think the time for gimmicks is not now. I think now is when you need to kind of regain a lot of your core gamers, you know, and
Go back and see what made a franchise so good.
exactly something like Link Between Worlds, where it's just sort of like, what makes this franchise great? Let's expand on it. Let's give me all the good, you know. Give me something just really, really good.
Because I guess another thing I'd suggest is they need something different, like a shooter. Nintendo doesn't have too many shooters. Like I do think that Star Fox would be working well with that, and this kind of jumps into my next thing I was going to say. But like a new Star Fox, it's kind of just like a new take on the 64. Doesn't have to be a full title. It can be an eShop title, but they need more different little games that
Stuff other than platformers
Right.
and Zelda.
But they don't, like, they need things that can be small. Like, the 3DS had Dylan's Rolling Western and Pushmo, and introduced new IPs that Nintendo did. Nintendo does do new IPs, they just don't really run with them. It'd be nice to see some of those have a take on the Wii U, you know. Not saying the eShop's barren, but, like, it doesn't even have to be eShop titles. It could be, like, DuckTales Remastered, which came out on a physical copy for $20. Put out some smaller stuff that's more, it can still be, you know, quite as expansive, just, you know, something else. But and it's you know, that's my next suggestion.
I would think, and this is, I think, going back to the first thing, and I think a lot of Nintendo's problem stems from a couple different things. One of the major things is that I think they need to be kid friendly, but shed this kind of stink of them being kiddie. I don't think that's totally true, but I think that's the public conception.
Yes.
Like, the public image of them is they're kind of this toy company or whatever, and I've described it as, you know, they're Nintendo, they're not Fisher-Price. And I think a lot of times they do fuel into that, where they go, oh, look, it's like, ooh, you can do that, you know, or whatever.
Something like Pikmin 3 introduced that they didn't have to do anything with the gamepad, just make a good game.
Yeah, like, and I think maybe some sort of more mature kind of IPs or games or whatever, I think would really help them a lot.
Right.
Particularly, and I'm not saying like mature as in like
You're saying like
Gears of War.
You're saying like
or,
Majora's Mask mature.
Yes, I'm not saying like emotionally mature, like, and you know, because stuff like, you know, say God of War or Gears of War or whatever.
Not gritty. Like, don't confuse the word gritty for mature.
Those aren't really, because I always hear people say, you know, like, I heard Darksiders described as, well, Zelda for grown-ups. And I'm like, I feel like Zelda is for grown-ups. Like, what are you talking about? You know, and you look at, say, Darksiders or something, and that's like these big burly dudes with giant spikes come out. And
He's
like,
from hell, you know.
yeah, like, and like, you look at something like...
Like, it doesn't have to be
Majora's
that. It could be, but...
Something like Majora's Mask like, tackles, to me, a lot of big themes, and, like, I'm just... To me, you know, obviously that's a misconception, is that it's mature if it has giant burly dudes ripping out people's spines. That's not what I'm talking about, though maybe that couldn't hurt, I don't know. You know, something like Resident Evil 4, I think, was a big draw to the GameCube, and that's not really a mature game. That does have... It's not kiddie, certainly, but it's not...
I mean,
mature.
Kind of like, a third party's going to need to step it up in that regard.
But you look at, say, something like how they've been... I obviously can't do anything mature with Kirby, but, like... Mario or all this shit. You look at these, and these are kind of emotionally shallow games.
Mm-hmm.
And, I want to see more stuff like Zelda.
Or Metroid.
Or Metroid, which are very kind of weighty
or
games.
even Star Fox.
To an extent, it's been...
Especially Command, that had a lot of themes.
Command did. I actually realized...
And Assault felt like a space
Command.
opera. Yeah.
It is. Command, I thought, was a very mature game. Like,
Yeah.
it had these, these characters that were... I mean, even though they're talking animals, they're having problems. They were having,
shifts and rifts in the group, and
Right,
dealing with
yeah.
love and betrayal and lots of different things.
And, yeah, I want to see stuff like that. I would love to play stuff like that, and I think Nintendo's very capable of doing it.
They they have in the past. I don't know. Because that's a lot of stuff you can see from Nintendo. Third parties like a new Resident Evil that's actually good. Bring it to the Wii U. That'd be fine. I don't know. That's essentially...
Obviously, they got to get third-party support.
But
that isn't really specific games, but it'd be nice if some third parties started making Wii U games.
Yeah,
basically.
I don't know, but essentially that's a lot of what we'd like to see in the next year at least. And some of this is already being...
We're not asking too much, but
Yeah, like Smash is already coming out. Mario Kart 8 is coming out, and that kind of needs a facelift, but it's coming out. It's gonna sell some stuff.
Yeah.
But there's some things that still need to come, and we haven't seen what all is to come this year. So.
Get on
Good
it.
luck, Nintendo, and we hope you don't.
Get on
hope
it.
Your dad's not
get on it.
I hope your dad's not there to see you fail. So.